911, what's your emergency? There's a man on the floor. He's not moving. There's blood everywhere. Please send someone. That call was made at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night in Chicago. The man on the floor was 26 years old. His name was Daniel Whitmore. His jaw was broken in 2 places. 3 ribs were shattered. There was internal bleeding in his abdomen. And when paramedics arrived 11 minutes later, his heart stopped for 19 seconds on the stretcher before they brought him back. But here's what the paramedics didn't know. Here's what the police didn't know yet. The man who nearly ended Daniel's life that night was someone Daniel called his best friend. And the woman who stood in that room watching it happen, the woman who didn't call for help, who didn't scream, who didn't move, was a woman Daniel had been in love with for almost 2 years. She had kissed him that morning, told him she loved him, and by midnight, she was stepping over his body to grab her passport. This is not a story about a stranger on the internet. This is a story about the 2 people Daniel trusted most in the world. And together, they stole $2 million from him, nearly took his life, and vanished before the ambulance even arrived. I need you to pay very close attention to this one, because what happened to Daniel starts the exact same way most love stories do. But before I take you back to where this began, you need to understand something first. When federal investigators finally cracked this case open, they discovered that Daniel was not the first victim. He wasn't even the second. There were others before him, in different states, different names, different faces, same scheme. And one of those earlier victims didn't survive, not because of violence, because the shame and the financial devastation became too much to carry. That person took their own life 8 months before Daniel ever met the woman who would destroy his. The people who did this to Daniel already had blood on their hands. He just didn't know it yet. Nobody did. Now let's go back. For years before that 911 call, Daniel Whitmore grows up in a quiet suburb outside of Milwaukee. Only child. Good parents. His father owns 3 laundromats. His mother manages a small real estate portfolio. They're not flashy wealthy, but they're comfortable. When Daniel is 18, his grandfather passes away and leaves behind a trust fund worth $1.4 million. By the time Daniel enrolls at the University of Illinois at Chicago to study finance, that trust has grown to just under $1.8 million through disciplined index fund investments. Daniel is smart, quiet, careful with money. He doesn't post about it. He doesn't brag. But if you knew where to look, the signs were there, and someone was looking. Her name was Karina Voss. She sat next to him in a macroeconomics lecture, second semester, freshman year, asked to borrow a pen, smiled at his awkwardness, laughed at his terrible jokes. Within 2 weeks, they were studying together every night. Within a month, she was the first name on his phone every morning. Daniel had never had a real relationship before. Never been looked at the way Karina looked at him. He thought he had gotten lucky. He thought the universe was finally being kind. Now I need to pause here, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I would have seen the signs. I wouldn't have fallen for it. And I need you to hold that thought, because in about 3 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how wrong that assumption is. The people who did this to Daniel weren't amateurs. They were professionals wearing the faces of people he loved. What Daniel doesn't know during those early months is that Karina didn't end up in that lecture by accident. She was placed there. Someone had mentioned the quiet kid in the finance program, the one who never went to parties, the one who always paid for group dinners without being asked, the one with family money. That someone was a man named Marcus Dean. He was Karina's real boyfriend. They'd been together since high school. And Marcus had a history. 2 juvenile fraud convictions, both sealed. He and Karina had run this playbook before. Find a lonely young man with money, send Karina in to build an emotional bond, extract everything, disappear. They had done it in Ohio. They had done it in Michigan. And now they were doing it in Illinois. 3 months into the relationship, the first ask comes. Karina tells Daniel her mother is sick. The medical bills are destroying her family. She might have to drop out. Daniel doesn't hesitate. $15,000. Transfer that same night. The account it goes into belongs to Marcus. But Daniel doesn't know Marcus exists yet. That introduction comes later, and when it does, it's masterful. At the 14-month mark, Karina introduces Daniel to Marcus, not as her boyfriend, as her cousin. Marcus is warm, charismatic, everything Daniel isn't. They start spending time together, playing basketball, watching games. Daniel opens up to Marcus in ways he never has with anyone. He tells him about the trust fund. He tells him about his fears. He tells him he thinks Karina might be the one. Marcus listens to all of it, files every detail, and reports back to Karina every single night. Now, I need to jump forward for a moment, because while Daniel is building what he thinks is a brotherhood, the FBI is quietly investigating a financial fraud complaint filed in Michigan 8 months earlier. A young man there had lost $600,000 to a woman and her male accomplice. The description of the scheme is almost identical to what's happening to Daniel in real time. Same structure, same emotional manipulation, same fake LLC. The Michigan victim's family filed a report after their son was found unresponsive in his apartment. He didn't make it. That case file is sitting in a federal database while Daniel is handing over his entire future to the same two people responsible. The clock is ticking, and nobody knows it. Back in Chicago, Marcus pitches Daniel on an investment, a real estate flip in Indiana. He shows him documents, a registered LLC, property assessments, contractor estimates. It all looks legitimate. Daniel wires $400,000. That money is routed through 3 shell accounts and cashed out within 72 hours. Meanwhile, Karina's financial requests keep coming. A brother's surgery, a cousin's legal trouble, an emergency flight home. Each story more urgent than the last. Each one completely invented. By month 20, Daniel has transferred a combined total of $1.9 million. His trust fund is nearly gone, and he still believes he's in a loving relationship and a smart business partnership. That's not stupidity. That's what happens when the people you trust are engineering your reality. The collapse comes without warning. A Tuesday night, Daniel drives to Karina's apartment to surprise her. He uses the spare key she gave him. He opens the door, and he finds Karina and Marcus together, not as cousins. The truth detonates in his chest like a bomb. Every late-night phone call, every borrowed dollar, every smile, every I love you, all of it was architecture. Designed, rehearsed, performed. Daniel confronts them. He's screaming. He's shaking. He can barely breathe. And then Marcus moves toward the kitchen counter. What happens in the next 90 seconds puts Daniel on a hospital bed for 9 days and changes the course of 3 lives forever. Marcus strikes Daniel repeatedly. Daniel goes down. He doesn't get back up. Karina stands in the doorway. She doesn't scream. She doesn't call for help. She watches. When Daniel stops moving, Marcus goes through his pockets, takes his phone, takes his wallet, and they leave. They leave him on the floor, bleeding, barely alive. A neighbor hears the noise and makes the call that saves Daniel's life. He wakes up in the ICU, jaw wired shut, ribs fractured, tubes in his chest. His parents are at his bedside. His mother hasn't stopped crying in 3 days. When Daniel can finally speak, he tells investigators everything. The money, the relationship, the fake business, the betrayal, and the federal system finally connects the dots. Daniel's case matches the Michigan file. Same method, same aliases, same 2 people. Marcus Dean is arrested 6 days later at a motel in Gary, Indiana. He has $200,000 in cash for fake IDs and a one-way bus ticket to Texas. Karina Voss is picked up the following morning at O'Hare Airport trying to board a flight to Toronto. She has Daniel's watch in her bag, the one his grandfather gave him before he died. Marcus is charged with aggravated battery, wire fraud, and conspiracy. He receives 14 years in federal prison. Karina is charged with conspiracy to commit fraud and accessory to aggravated assault. She receives 8 years. Through asset forfeiture, Daniel recovers roughly $300,000. The remaining $1.6 million is gone, laundered, spent, or hidden in accounts that investigators may never find. Daniel Whitmore is alive today. He graduated 2 years late. He works at a financial advisory firm in Milwaukee, helping young people protect their assets and recognize the warning signs of financial manipulation. In a local interview last year, he said something I haven't been able to forget. He said, "I didn't lose $2 million. I lost the ability to trust the person sitting next to me. And I don't know if I'll ever get that back." And that's the part of this story that haunts me the most. Because the money can be earned again. The bones healed. The scars faded. But the ability to trust, to love without suspicion, to believe someone when they say you matter to them. Daniel may never get that back. And the people who took it from him will be out of prison before he turns 40. Romance scams don't always come from strangers in other countries with fake photos and broken English. Sometimes they come from the person who sits next to you in class, the one who remembers your birthday, the one who introduces you to their family. The red flags are always there. Someone who always has a financial emergency. Someone who brings new people into your life who also need your money. Someone who makes you feel guilty for asking questions. If the love feels perfect but the math doesn't add up, something is very, very wrong. If this story made you feel something, if it made you think about someone in your life, I need you to do two things right now. Subscribe to this channel, because we tell these stories so that fewer people become the next Daniel, and share this video with one person you care about. Just one. That one share could save someone's life. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay safe,